Thanksgiving servants and guests. Welcome to another edition of Living Water for a Thirsty Thursday. Have you ever heard the term stay in your lane? Well, prayerfully today, the takeaway will be a little bit more meat on the bone about lane choice, lane chosen, and lane choosing. The text that I want to read comes from Daniel, the 2nd chapter, the 21st verse. And it reads, "And he changeth the times and the seasons. He removeth kings, and he setteth up kings. He giveth wisdom unto the wise, and knowledge to them that know understanding." In this text, we have Daniel, who is praising God for the gift of interpreting dreams. And in interpreting these dreams, he was able to save his life and the life of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. But he was able to do that because of his lane choice. Lane choice being where he is gifted, where he is trained, and where he has expertise, which comes from the 1st chapter of the 17th verse. Biblically, it lays it out. "As for these 4 children, God gave them knowledge and skill in all learning and wisdom, and Daniel had understanding in all visions and dreams." And so Daniel had the lane choice of interpreting dreams. God has blessed me to be able to serve as a pastor. And so training came with that. And so there's some ability. God has also blessed me to be able to serve as an aircraft electrician. And there's some ability that came with that. He's allowed me to serve as a pilot for the United States Air Force. And there's ability that comes with that. And so that is my lane, if you would, but also my lane choice. It's where God allows me to serve. And so when we say lane choice, we mean my lane. We mean where I have expertise or where I have the abilities to do different things. But then after that, we move to lane chosen. And lane chosen is where others have their lane, or what God has allowed others to be gifted at or be able to do. And that's what's key here in this text when Daniel is able to set up and say that God is the one that puts kings in place and removes kings from the roles they are in. And why are we saying that? Because in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic, we can already see that our federal government may come in conflict with our state government, which both may or may not conflict then with our local government. But it's important for us as believers to know what our gifting is, but it's also important to know that God places kings and presidents and leaderships and governmental structures in place as he sees fit. As he says, he removeth kings and he setteth up kings, and he gives wisdom to the wise and whoever he wants to give the wisdom to. The last point that we wanted to make today is that lane choosing. And that's what we have to fight off, even though we have a tendency to do it. Because if we're not careful, it can almost sound like murmuring and complaining. And we know how God dealt with that in the Bible as well. And so it's important here to know, in being lane choosy, that means we tend to try to be in all the different lanes. We try to be an expert in everything. We try to give guidance and instruction in everything. We try to second guess, if you would, the different plans and practices. But what's key here in this text is there had already been several astrologers that had been killed because they could not interpret the king's dream. But Daniel did not come in and criticize the king for how he had been serving as a king. Daniel just came in, occupied his lane, respected the lane that the king was in, and then did what he was supposed to do in his gifting. And that's exactly what we want to do in this time right now. The tendency is to second guess the federal government. The tendency is to second guess our state government. The tendency is to second guess our local government. The tendency is sometimes even to second guess what God is doing. And we say, why, God, why is this going on? But the bottom line is, we can't be those that are choosing. And so the last verse that I'll read that comes from Proverbs, the 8th chapter and the 15th and 16th verse, speaks a little bit more to that. Listen to this. "By me kings reign and princes decree justice. By me princes rule and nobles, even all the judges of the earth." All is simply saying is God is challenging us to stay in our lanes because it is he that chooses what lane people should be in, whether we agree with the choice or not. God bless you. God keep you as you move forward, being God's servant, in God's service, serving God's people.